Cause it's time to move on now. It's time for Murder Blues.
There was a mosquito. It went zzz.
That was a description of, I don't know, but welcome all.
I'm covered in mosquito bites. Sorry.
We are Murder Boost, part of the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. It's in the game.
It's in the game.
It's in Ken's ass.
It's in your ass. Fuck off.
You're the one who always stores shit in her ass. And I don't mean shit literally, because I mean obviously you store shit literally in your ass, but
I do stick my phone in there.
My favorite thing to do is to sit back and listen to the first 4 minutes of our podcast.
because it is just complete sexual banter with no sexual
it's the
nature.
Utter chaos that I have no idea in any direction it's going to go. I live for that literally every week.
I just need to start posting these on like just the first intro, and they're like, "Why is this a horror podcast?" They talk about putting things up their butts, and I was just like, "Because that is what we do." The Prestige, or what is it? What is the fucking joke that?
I mean, that's one of them.
Yeah.
The Prestige is one.
What was the dirty joke that Bob Saget was famous for telling? Oh, they made a whole documentary about it. What the fuck was it called?
I have no idea.
God
but
damn it.
I've seen a couple of his specials, and they're really
I know, but
funny.
they had a whole documentary about this joke, and I can't fucking, and like Bob Saget's in it, and I don't fucking know. It's just really dirty comedy. Welcome all. We are here. Ken is running away from America. I don't for
She's
for
a
legal
smart
reasons.
one.
and she's smart. I'm gonna be following behind her. Fuck this place.
Yeah, I'm on my way.
Running.
I'm looking up jobs in Canada.
As you should.
Yeah.
It's
I
nice
I
up here.
don't know
It's
if there's an
really
automotive plant up there.
There are.
I can torque the fuck out of a bolt.
Rig guys make really good money. It's really hard work, but the rigs are always looking.
I mean, Brian, you can work at the moose factories that they produce mooses. So like you help
producing the meese.
in the meese. You will assemble mooses in random
Listen,
ways.
Is
It
moose
got up
in?
to 75 today, and it got down to 51. I came from Tennessee
75.
where it was 104.
Yeah, it's right now. It's 99 degrees where I'm living. Yeah.
So I'm just saying,
My
the winters are kind of
balls are
ass.
stuck to my thighs. The one nut is stuck to the opposite thigh though, so it's very uncomfortable. So,
Wait, so like they're crisscross?
yeah, it's the
Mac
Crisscross
Daddy make
applesauce?
you
Yeah.
jump.
yeah, Daddy Mac Daddy. They
That-
wearing their overalls with one thing.
Just don't sit on your balls, Brian, because sitting on your balls.
They are. I'm
is
sitting
a
on them right now. It's
it's-
the worst thing ever. Yeah.
You're just like Randy when he has cancer. That's what you're like. That's when he has his bouncing around on his testicles of magic.
I'm getting ready to go swimming though, so everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be awesome. Do you have a pool in your
I always
backyard,
forget
Brian?
that the puppy
No,
makes
but I have a
three
friend that
legs.
does.
Oh, okay.
So cute.
So
Sorry.
Puppy's just doing its own thing. He's like, Dad, why
yeah,
is it so fucking hot?
Roby's like, it's fucking hot, dude.
He's
I
like, "Fuck
always
this
forget he has 3 legs.
Yeah,
Well,
you
I
always
mean,
forget he
all
does.
Almost all dogs have 3 legs, but he only has 3 legs.
Right.
I mean, it's 2 legs and a giant penis, but here we are regardless.
I
mean,
took him to my favorite record store the other day for the
You
first
took him
time.
to your rectum. Got it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Brought him right inside. Right inside there.
That's what you call gaping.
And it was, it's a hell of a rectum to fit him in there.
Rectum.
But yeah, I took him to the record store with me, and all the people there just fell in love with him, as they should have, because he's fucking awesome. He's adorable as shit.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he is pretty cute. I mean, and
Yeah, he doesn't pull the lights down in my room.
God damn it! Fucking poodles! Fucking poodles! Where is that poodle? She's over there. That bitch. We were preparing for the show, and she pulled my fucking light down. And I'm just yelling at her because she pissed me off. She pissed me off.
There were names thrown.
I might
but no fists, so it's okay.
No, I don't hit my animals. I just
No, of
yell
course
at
not.
them when they knock shit over
Yeah.
and be like, "Bitch, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Oh, Ken, I don't know if you know this. This shirt I'm wearing was designed by the sexy old man in the chat named
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I can't.
So-
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
I
our.
didn't
It
know
was
you
a
did.
Pride shirt that I.
yeah, we
designed
did. It was like
several
when the
years ago.
podcast network actually did things and like
Yeah.
the podcast
Yeah.
network kind of fell off the face of the planet, but it's okay. We still love everyone there. Yeah.
I need to get more involved in the network again. Now that I actually
I mean,
got back in
it
it.
is very
Let
like,
me know
dude.
how that goes. I've yet to talk to anybody.
Yeah,
I'll make it happen.
that's okay. There's not many active things in there anymore, so
That's just
Yeah,
because
that's
there
true.
isn't somebody to spur it along and encourage it. You know what I mean?
yep.
Sometimes it just takes a couple of people to get in there and say, "Hey, flip your dick out on the table
and get it
You know,
stomped on
show
like
what you're working
Maxine.
with."
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Brian had some things to say, I think, about we're not talking about, you can see the video or look at the name of the episode. We're talking about an violent nature because Ken lives like a plane ride from the nearest theater, so she couldn't see it, and she was
Yeah.
running away from the United States. But Brian and I both saw the other movie, The
The
Long
legs of long.
I'll be watching it this week, hopefully.
Legs de la long.
I was saying, one, I kept every time I see that chick in a movie, I don't realize it's her. Like she fucking, I never understand that it's the chick from It Follows, which Ken still has never seen. And he's-
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Sorry, my
Um,
cat just punched me.
I saw Fat Boy come up on screen. So, but two, I liked Long Legs a lot, but the shit people say about that movie, they're like, it's like they've seen 3 horror movies and like 2 of them were the Winnie the Pooh movies. It's just like, this is the greatest
Wait, are they
movie.
saying that was my question.
It's the scariest, greatest movie of all time. And I'm just like, I don't get into it too much because Ken needs to watch it. The
Yeah.
movie loses me in the third act a lot.
Mhm.
And 2,
Shut your fucking mouth. How about
I
that?
just said it loses me in the third. I
Christ.
didn't give you any definition.
You are spewing information that I am not prepared for.
I did.
Shut
Okay.
your-
How is
shut
me
your-
saying
shut
it
your
loses
fuck
me in
up.
the third act?
Well,
your cockroach.
Some
Shut your
people don't want to know nothing.
I said it
Yeah, I don't
loses
wanna know
me.
shit.
Loses me. I didn't say.
But you still said, "Oh, in the third
See,
act."
the thing is, so Rod, you just said the third act loses me. So now she's gonna go into the movie with the
Mhm, mhm.
presumption that the third act is not strong. She didn't want to know that you didn't think the third act was very strong.
There you
So let's talk about in a violent nature.
No, not yet. Because we don't
Oh.
need a full 52 minutes to talk about this movie. But
No, we don't.
No. I was gonna say, have you guys watched anything else? I know Ken's been traveling, so what? Brian? Yes, Brian. Yes. I'm calling you. What's up, Brian?
I raised my hand. I don't know why I did that.
Because you're
I
in
was
class.
lucky enough to get an early pass to see Twisters, not horror, but
nice.
yeah.
Was there a flying
um,
cow, Brian?
No.
God,
Wait,
okay.
wait a second. There's no flying cow in
I hate the
Twisters?
movie because there's no flying. No, there is
It's
no
okay.
flying cow.
Does anyone say it's the F5? It's the thumb of God because the greatest bad line in history of movies.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna say much other than I really enjoyed it. I think that if you like the movie Twister, you're gonna like this movie because it genuinely feels like a throwback to those cheesy 90s action movies that were just about having fun and
Disasters.
And
Yeah.
really cool special effects and destruction and shit.
Is-
So I really enjoyed it a lot.
Was-
Glenn
was-
Powell, I will say Glenn Powell's going to be a huge fucking star one day.
Yeah.
I mean, he's well
Two-
on his way. He's well
two-
on his way.
2 of my favorite actors of all time are in that fucking original, and it's
Oh yeah,
it's like
Philip Seymour Hoffman and Bill
and-
Paxton.
Yeah, both of them are just like.
I just guessed both of them just like that, right?
I mean, when I was implying that they were no longer with us, I think that's probably the easiest.
Oh, I didn't
route
hear
to
that part.
Yeah. Oh no, I was
must have been
kind
talking over you.
I mean, also the accessible thing. I mean, accessible in that I don't know the fuck I'm saying. I'm just making words up. No,
I love you, man.
I think that those two being in it and being such a big part of that original is gonna be like.
Yeah.
And then is the president from fucking Independence Day in that movie too, or am I crazy?
You're crazy.
I thought he was the bad. Who's the bad guy in the original?
The tornadoes, dude.
No, there's a bad guy still.
Cary Elwes.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, the bad guy from Saw. No, dude.
Yeah.
No, he's the Princess Bride. Yes, we know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you dug it.
Red Pirate Robert. Yeah.
So Brian's giving it.
Yeah, I
Very
would
nice.
give it. Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely put a thumb right up in that booty and go see Twisters when it comes out. 'cause
2
it's super
cows
fun.
up, except there's no
There's
cows
no
up.
cows.
So
That makes me sad, Brian, and now I never want to see
I'm
it.
not. I'm not gonna lie. I would have loved to see some more flying ass cows.
Yep.
But that would have just been too heavy. But no, I genuinely really thought they did a good job making it feel like you were watching a sequel. That's not really super connected to the first one, other than
I'm assuming
they're
someone
chasing
is
tornadoes.
no children characters from
No.
the original movie either.
No,
Wow, so it's really
I'm glad
just.
they did it that way.
Yeah.
I like that
I just assumed
because it
they were
didn't
the
feel forced.
they were
It
the
didn't feel
children of Bill
forced.
Paxton and Philip Seymour
Yeah,
Hoffman. Or
'cause,
whatever.
yeah, because everybody's kid goes on to do the same thing that their
Yeah.
parents do.
Yep. That's why Brian is a gay porn star.
Yeah, yeah. I was a butt baby. What can I say?
Oh, fucking hell. Ken, you just been traveling and living the world, so you haven't gotten the chance to watch as much, I would assume.
wait, no, I've been watching. I started watching Tulsa King last night,
Ooh.
and it's really good.
Is that the one
Like,
with Mel Gibson on?
Yeah.
Is it
Say
Mel-
that.
No,
No.
Or is it Sylvester Stallone? Who the fuck am I
Yes.
thinking? Okay.
It's
I'm just gonna say yeah every time you guess an actor, even if it's wrong.
it's Barry Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
Ooh, you look just like Buddy Holly. Oh, and you're Mary Tyler Moore. Also.
Yeah.
Also.
Go ahead.
What? How was that show?
Really freaking good. I didn't realize that it was initially on MTV, and I had forgotten that back in the day MTV used to actually make good like shows and movies. So I
This
was
on
like-
MTV.
it was initially on MTV. It got picked up by Paramount Plus.
I had
But-
no idea.
Yeah, or at least it
Okay.
was produced by MTV. But I like as soon as the first episode was over and I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? Like this is good. Like this is
Nice.
really good.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not a huge Sylvester Stallone fan, but I'm really enjoying it.
Okay.
so.
Good.
All you
Very
need to
cool.
know is the legend of the 3 seashells, Kin, and that's all that really matters.
I still want to know
Kin,
how that
God,
works.
Kin's never watched Demolition Man. I watched like
Nope.
we're
We
gonna
need to
do
have a
Demolition
bad
Man
movie.
next week.
We
on the
need to have a
podcast.
really good bad movie night in like Discord or something.
No,
one time.
there is
So-
nothing
No,
bad
you
about
can
that
do that.
movie. That movie
Yeah, there
is
is.
pure gold. Pure
Oh,
gold.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I love so many bad movies. The number of times I've watched Cobra.
I know
ironically,
you've talked about
another
it. I think
movie.
7 times on this podcast, Brian.
I love that fucking movie, and I can't wait to make you all watch it
Watch
because
it,
it's got
watch-
slasher. It's got a slasher in it, so it qualifies.
Okay.
I feel
yeah.
like we need Brian to watch the Rug Suckers from Outer Space movie.
No, I
Fuck
mean, no, I don't think Brian deserves that.
I don't think anybody should
Why?
ever watch that.
The
ever
Rug Suckers
again.
from Mars, or whatever the fuck.
I mean,
Yeah.
We're, a guy's
Yeah,
in love
I'm
with a.
definitely interested. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's the movie from the 80s where a homeless guy fucks a vacuum cleaner and has a vacuum cleaner baby.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oversexed Rug Suckers from Mars. It's a 1989 film. We did do an episode on it. It is
Ken,
so
by the way,
bad.
Kim, by the way, your mic is weird, by the way, a little bit. Is it? Okay, you sounded a little strange. I don't know if you were talking.
Is
into
that
this-
better?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
There you
Okay.
go. It was
better?
well the Kim and the other day on her stream when she was still in the other country was talking in the complete opposite side of it, and it sounded like she was down a long hallway.
Hey, fuck you. That was like 6 months ago.
No, that just happened like last weekend.
Okay, fuck you. It happened like last week, but it also happened
Yeah,
like
why are you
6
bringing up old shit,
Yeah.
months
man?
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck off. I
Fuck
made
off.
sure it was facing the right way this morning.
I don't know. I think probably because it's just us and no like game and stuff. It's probably just more like little like easier.
No, I'd
to
rather you
notice.
tell me. I'm not mad
Yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah, you're a liar. You're like I hate you, Rod. You lied to me. You made me cry. And here we are.
Made me take a shit.
I'm gonna say I'm on the next Thursday is the last episode of The Boys for the season, and I'm gonna be very sad when it's over because this season has been wild, and then there's only one season left.
Yeah, they're gonna end that after the next season, aren't they?
Yeah,
From what I hear, because I haven't gotten to watch this season yet, but from what I hear, I'm surprised that people aren't trying to get it canceled at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. I
mean,
mean that I would. Yeah, from what I'm hearing,
it's
I'm surprised
they're not
as
even
well.
like they don't even have to make shit up anymore. All they're doing
Oh,
is
I
just
know, like,
Republican
just-
bullshit from the last 5 years.
Yeah, speaking of that, like, not to get super political, but this is our first episode recording after Trump was shot at and got himself a new little ear piercing, which is really cute.
Which
But
was
it's okay because
which wasn't
it was
even
just
from the
biggest
bullet.
bullet that's ever happened, and I
It
told
was-
that bullet, "You are a nasty bullet. You are a nasty, nasty bullet."
You
And
know,
I dodged that bullet because I am the fastest man in the world. I
that
told
wasn't
that
from the
bullet,
bullet,
"You
right?
won't do this."
The teleprompter got shot and the glass hit his ear.
Yeah, that was the glass from the teleprompter that got
Yeah,
him.
that wasn't.
That's
he-
amazing.
Yep.
Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
Yep. Yep.
Amazing.
No,
10
I
out of 10.
was one of the things where the internet. I don't want to go into it either, really, but like the internet has been a wild place since I saw. I think my favorite thing of the whole like I saw today was like there were so many great memes, but it was like a bunch of old people sitting at the like at slot machines and it was the quote for the tweet was the FBI adding all the people who said, "Oh, they missed to the to the watch database," and it was just like these people. It was like 8 old people going, "Ding, ding, ding, ding," ding because there's so, dude. Like if you were saying shit on that like the Twitter or anywhere the last couple of days, you're on some fucking watch list now, and yep. Not that it matters. The kid was supposedly on a watch list too. Yay! Okay, no more for that bullshit. But yeah, it was a weekend we had. It was a weekend we had here in America. So,
Yeah, it was.
let us talk about In a Violent Nature, which came out.
Hold on,
Yes.
before we get into a violent nature, well, actually, this kind of goes into it, but dropping back just 1 second to the Trump thing. I found out today that since January 1st of this year, the country has had 1.5 mass shootings every day.
Yep.
If you take in like and do all the math based on the number of mass shootings, because technically that one was considered a mass shooting because 4 people were hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That sounds about right.
And yet, no, God damn it, Kim got me a little
Sorry,
I-
we don't have
I-
to go with it. This
I
is just
know.
a good point of in a violent nature also
but-
is going on in the States.
I know. I just want to say one more thing too. Trump picked his vice president today, who was a middle-aged white man, who called Trump a
That's right.
Nazi. So here we are.
Oh, that's
So here-
hilarious.
Yep. So here we are. He probably doesn't even realize he called him a Nazi because he's Trump.
Well, he just took it as a compliment.
Yeah, probably. He's like, "Oh, really? I'm
psycho.
looking up to
I've
my
made it.
idols."
Oh, he called me a Nazi. I'm the best Nazi that's ever
I'm the best Nazi that's ever happened.
I'm the most beautiful Nazi, ever the Nazi.
You've never seen such a great Nazi.
Okay, let's talk about In a Violent Nature,
Here are
and
my shoes.
and I hate it here. So, yeah. So we are gonna talk about. It came out in April. Did it come out in April? I don't know when the fuck it came out. It came
The
out
release date was May 31st.
so May. Okay, the
Are you
A24
ready?
film. What?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was
This
gonna
wasn't an A24 film.
Yeah, this
Yeah, it
wasn't
was.
an A24
Wasn't it?
film. This was a Shutter production.
It was an IFC.
Oh, okay. Was that? Why was I thinking it was
Yeah.
A24? Probably because that meme I saw today. That
It has
came
three,
in.
three numbers, letters, whatever. A24,
It's very-
IFC. It's all the
it's-
same thing.
It's also very artsy, like a A24. This is the most A24 horror movie I've ever seen, and it's not an A24 horror.
And this is not the most A24 horror movie
I
I've
mean,
ever seen.
I don't know. It's
but
very-
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Here's the
Kid-
summary. When a
Yeah.
locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit, by horrific 60-year-old crime. His body is resurrected and becomes hellbent on retrieving it. Be nice if instead of it said retrieving it. It makes me think he's trying to go get his body. But anyway,
Yeah. I have to say,
the
one,
necklace.
this movie was Hatchet, like just redone Hatchet. Like the plot synopsis and everything is just like except that there's no like Hatchet guy Victor Crowley isn't looking for anything particular, but like it's the same almost thing where it's like they made like Victor Crowley, mixed him with Jason Voorhees, and then they have the film. And I have to say, I like the people that like Ken was reading reviews of this before we started, and like people are like saying it's pointless, and I'm like, just because it's different, and I don't think that to be honest that this film nails everything, like, but like it's an interesting thing, and I'm glad I've watched it twice now because I watched it last weekend too, but like I just think it's funny because I feel like the same people were just going off about how great Skinnamarink Dinkadoo was, and it's just like I don't know, man. What was your two, like, Brian and I have talked about it a little bit, but what was your initial thought of this? I know you watched it in Discord today with people.
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it up until the end, just because, and we've talked about this, for those that haven't watched it and are listening to this because you don't watch it, you just like whatever. At the end, there is approximately, it feels like a 20-minute
It's like 10
monologue.
minutes.
It feels like an hour and a half.
It feels, yes, like I could have, it felt like, if you're familiar with Atlas Shrugged, it felt like John Galt's speech. It was, which is so long, in fact, that when we read Atlas Shrugged in college, my teacher told us just to listen to it on YouTube because it's too much to read. Anyway, it was painful. I fell asleep. I was playing Candy Crush while watching it because I just couldn't do it, and I fell asleep. So, but otherwise, the movie was great. I enjoyed the kind of different viewpoint that they went with. That scene honestly really fucks it up because like you went from following him and like really seeing things from his perspective and all this to, oh, we're in a car and we're listening to this woman talk. Like, I would have loved to know what he was doing when he found the necklace. Like, what did he do? Did he take the necklace and then go back to the fire tower? Like, that's stuff that I would have wanted to see. And it feels like that just super missed the boat on all of it.
I agree. That's my biggest criticism about the movie as well, is the fact that it abandons its whole identity in the middle of the final act. Now, I think I know why they did that though, because I think they wanted us to have
a final
sense of the unknown. You know what I mean? They didn't want us to know what he did afterwards.
Yeah.
They didn't want us to know.
But it feels so counterintuitive based on what the movie was supposed to be. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like
I don't necessarily
kind of slaps the concept in the face.
I don't necessarily think they made the right decision by doing that, but I'm also smart enough to know that I don't fucking know how to make a movie. So I don't know what the right thing to do would have been necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think that if they wanted to potentially make a sequel, it would be best if some of those answers were not answered, those questions were not answered.
I think if they did a sequel, which I don't know if they will, but if they did do a sequel, I think it'd be cool because like you've, followed him back. You've seen like whatever he does. Does he go to sleep? Does he, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, the sequel can start with him like being like, oh, fuck, like you interrupted me doing XYZ,
Playing with my car, playing with my Hot Wheels.
Dude, was so sad.
That's such a sad scene, dude. Oh, it really is. I was going to say that's the best scene in the movie, to be completely honest. But yeah, it is a very sad scene. No, I think that like this is my take on it. And I think that it kind of blue-balled everyone trying to I think it was all about building up tension because that whole scene is building up to when they stop and they just have those woods. It kind of like, I mean, there are scenes in Log Legs where they do that kind of thing where you're just like looking in the background and you're looking and you're expecting something to happen.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm not ruining whether it happens or not, Ken. And this was the same thing where they're setting it up to like they want you to sit there and go, oh, he's gonna come out of the woods. They're gonna come. Like they kind of blue ball you, if we're being completely honest. And where they sit there and it's like that whole thing. And you guys talked about it. It's the fucking speech the woman gives about the bear attacking her husband, and it's
painful.
It just feels like this thing where this woman is. You know what's funny is the woman is actually really good. Like the woman giving the speech, it's just
fine.
She was in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was. She the.
I think she was.
Vicky.
I think she's the girl that had the hots for the paraplegic.
Okay. Oh, okay.
If memory serves me correctly, it's been a while since
dude,
I've watched Friday.
I will laugh every time I see that motherfucker get a hatchet in his forehead and just the wheelchair just going down the stairs is just fucking hysterical.
It's such a great kill.
Yeah. But like it is very much like they set it up and they set it up and they set it up. And if you did all that abandoning the concept, I think that, and then you just fucking horrify people with him coming out of the woods out of nowhere, I think you set up what could have been a really great jump scare, like a really, really, really good. Because you just go and look in the woods, and then you go and you pan to the driver, and then he pops up or does something, and you scare the shit out of everyone. But it's like there's that.
But
thing
I
where
feel like that's too predictable. I actually enjoyed him not showing up, especially when when it pans to him having taken the locket and not touched anything else. Like.
Yeah.
I think that them not going with that, easy jump scare was kind of a valid because the whole time you're on the edge of your seat. You're like, oh my God, is he going to like my thought process was, is he going to shoot a bow, like shoot an arrow from a bow? Is he going to throw a spear? Is he going to, come running at her? Is he going to like be right behind the woman? Like, is she going to have blood fly up all over her? Like all these different things. And you're waiting and nothing happens. And I was like, ooh, that's different. Like I liked it, but I know a lot of people hated that.
Then you just don't like her story? Is that what you were saying? You just don't like the story and everything like that?
Oh, I hated the story. It was so fucking boring. Like,
that's what
I just hated the story. And like again, the whole thing of like breaking that concept of we're following him in the woods, we're seeing what he sees. We're seeing just like, when you're watching the other slasher movies, how does Jason get places and nobody seems to notice? Well, because they just don't fucking notice. Like he's just out wandering around. And I like that part I really liked. It was just the fact that we like completely transitioned from that concept is what bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
Same. I'm of the opinion that if you're going to abandon the whole identity of your movie, it better be for a very fucking good reason.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The payoff isn't worth it for me.
Because I like the tension built there, right? But like
I don't
you
mind.
blue ball.
I don't mind.
I think you blue balled everyone because everyone was setting up for expectations that like that he was gonna pop up, and you had that thing where it's like I just think that you guys are right. I think that I disagree with why you're right. I think that that they not paying off after breaking the thing with all the tension they built up is the reason that it was a mistake. And I think that like that the tension is so great, and then just it goes, and then the end, and then they show the gas can again, and because the thing is that you how this movie is filmed and how this movie is set up and the concept, you don't have any connection to these characters because none of them are anything besides she's the chick whose dumb boyfriend picked this locket up and got all the friends killed. Also, it made me the first time I saw it, I'm like, so the dumb ranger who was like, no, you can't do that. It was completely wrong. Like who suffered, dude. That was the one thing that made me laugh so hard about this movie. This is like an embodied spirit of a child in like Jason Voorhees's whatever, and who's come back. Who they don't like. There was the goofy thing about it was like I don't know how like because the ranger says there was one or a few things that weren't right in the story. I just go, how old was this person? Because like why? It's the same thing with Jason Voorhees, right? It's the whole concept of Jason drowned when he was a small child. And then all of a sudden he's old man or like, you know, a middle-aged dude, one in his mid-20s. The same thing with this guy where he's like, same thing with Victor Crawley. Victor Crawley was supposed to be like the thing where, if you guys have never seen Hatchet, he's supposed to be like a kid or a just, I don't know. They don't really go into how old he was specifically, but, and then all of a sudden he's back and he's a monster of a dude and just like killing everyone. But I was kind of going with there. The Ranger kill is the one kill in the movie where I'm like, I don't get this, because how is this motherfucker, this child simple spirit guy, smart enough to go start the gas generated wood cutter thing? That was the one thing I was like,
Oh,
huh.
that was the worst kill in this
Yeah.
movie. It was so boring. Like, I know what they were trying to do, but it was just like,
Yeah.
okay, like how long can you stretch getting
Yeah,
the
that took a
wood
long time.
splicer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
that's probably. I agree. I think that's probably the worst kill in the movie.
I mean, you have the ones they showed. There aren't many that they
It's
showed.
kind of the funniest in
Yeah.
a way, though,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because this guy's supposed to be the expert, and he gets kind of bitched the fuck out.
Yeah, he breaks his neck and then becomes a. I will say they do a decent job with effects, because his arm looks real bad, but like they still have him in there up until the very end, and like you see his eyes going, unless they were doing animatronics, which I don't think this movie had the budget for. But I don't know. I thought it was just weird, and you're right, Ken. I think that and the speech are very much make this movie feel like they were stretching to hit 90 minutes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit.
So
Yeah.
because
There-
go Ken.
Go ahead.
No, go.
Okay. Well, there was a thing that this is just some like trivia type stuff. Apparently, the individual that was to play Johnny at first had like done a lot of shooting, but like after a week and a half or something, had like a massive medical issue come up, so they swapped it to Rye Barrett, who's been in a fuckload of stuff apparently in micro budget horror films.
Was he a stuntman?
I don't know if he's a stuntman, but I didn't look that far into it. But they brought him in to do it, and they ended up having to reshoot like 70% of the movie because they couldn't. They thought that he was enough of a comparison to
But he
the
wasn't?
previous actor, and he
Yeah.
just wasn't.
Oh, well,
That's a bummer.
that's the point. Like when you're following him around, it's like it specifically has to be. There's so many things in this movie that make me laugh. Like after he chops the dude's head off with a saw thing, and then he's just like carrying the body around for no reason. And he must have carried that body miles, because that ranger station didn't seem like it was. That's one of the things in this movie where you're just like, the time frames are very weird. But like when he carries that guy's body all the way to ranger station, and then he throws the head through the window so he could get in, and then he wants the fucking fire helmet, and he throws the body. I'm just like, it's
pretty
such
funny.
yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna own this motherfucker, and it seemed like the only good guy out of all of those people. But like, I'm like, oh man, he was like, I'm just gonna haul this body across the fucking county, and just to get it. And yeah, also I'm glad that they killed the trap guy, because that guy sucked. And also was one of the weirdest. It was another weird sequence of this film, because he's got his number one motherfucker fucking. He's got
I need those hats. Like there's a bunch of hats online that are like director of the shit show or whatever, but like I need a hat that says number one motherfucker. I'd never wear it anywhere. Because can you imagine wearing that out in public anywhere that I have reside in? No. So
just don't get it from Sticker Mule, Ken.
no, fucking hell, Jesus Christ. No, okay, side note, we're just gonna dive into this for a second. Sticker Mule's owner, whatever, went off the fucking deep end on Twitter.
Yep.
And then in the comments proceeded, and it was all political and about how they stand with Trump and everything else. And then in the comments in Spanish informed someone that they actually live in Mexico and something else. And I was like, so then like, please excuse me, because I do know I'm fully well-versed in economic trade. Like I understand like global trade is going to be an issue depending on who comes into office. But why the fuck are you spouting off at the mouth about this? Like, I mean, you can support people. Like, I mean, people around here, like, they love Trump and whatever and fuck whatever. But like, it just blew me away. And so the whole time I'm like reading through this dude's responses and I'm like, holy shit.
So if you guys don't
no.
if you guys don't know, this guy who runs this company is just a sticker company, got like someone said something, emailed him something, and then like he had this response where it was like us Trump supporters are afraid to come, like it was insane
Yeah,
bullshit,
but
and
the
they
main
called him
thing
out
was
on
is that
Twitter.
he sent using his email like mailing service that he
Yeah.
sends out like newsletters and coupons and stuff. He sent out a whole thing like
It was a diatribe.
yeah, just like super hateful, like talking down to people about politics and like how dumb people were and like super pro Trump and like all
I-
kinds of shit.
I hope it cancels that motherfucker, because there's a thing where you take something like a business like that where I know you could have your own thing, but it just taints whatever, like especially when it's a shit view. It's just like this Five Nights at Freddy guy, and like you think people like Gina Carano and people like, if you have a shit opinion, you're allowed to have that shit opinion. But that doesn't mean people are gonna like you or respect you or want you around after
Right.
voicing that shit opinion. I
Well,
mean,
based on the comments on the Twitter post, honestly, there's definitely a lot of people that are super against him now, but there's a lot of people that are like, hell yeah,
yeah.
way
Well,
to
the
stand up
supporters
for
of
your
that-
rights.
The
blah,
supporters
blah,
of
blah.
that thing are the loudest ones. The supporters of that side, they're super loud and boisterous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's all they got.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, really, because they're most of them. Let's be honest, not very fucking intelligent.
Yep. Not the
Um,
brightest fans in the box.
I'm-
Yep.
you
Yep.
know,
Very much true. So, I don't even know where that started, but like,
boy, we are really,
yeah. I
really.
mean, let's okay.
Vote
we
on
are
that
really
politics line. Sorry.
painting the line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's
we
be-
are definitely alienating.
I mean, let's be real. It's
demographic.
in a violent nature is a interesting discussion, but it is literally a lot of walking. And when I don't think
It
any of the
is.
walking scenes are that bad.
It's
I think
Death Stranding.
yeah, there is one walking scene in the movie I think is kind of terrible, like about 45 minutes in, because it's just most of the scenes, like he'll walk and you'll see it for like 15 seconds and then it's another scene. That scene in the middle is just him walking through the woods for like a minute or two or whatever, which is harder to, and I think it's right after the best kill in the movie, because it is obviously the cliff kill, which is the only really notable kill, but because the axe thing isn't that great, like what we were talking about. It's funny, but it's not that great.
I think like notably wise, yes, it is definitely the most like vivid and sticks with you. And I don't think I've ever seen it done before, but I will say when he kills the ranger, like the younger one, and like does the paralyzing him, like that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's just the rest of the shit that takes forever.
It's
But
drawn out.
that yoga kill was so
Chef's kiss.
good. So good.
Yeah.
It is by far the most, because you don't see, like, there aren't that many kills in this movie. The first guy, you don't see anything. You just see his bloody hand afterwards.
There's two that are off camera.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he throws the axe at the one guy and you don't see it happen. You just see the body, and then he smashes the other dude's head with a rock, which isn't. It was cool. It was well done, but like, yeah, it wasn't the most original.
No, the guy that was listening to his Walkman or MP3 player or whatever you want to call it. That was you see
That was a cool kill.
That was a pretty cool kill.
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it was very like. It was very dark too, but yeah, you don't see all that.
A little
But
bit.
I think that the most original one is obviously the cliff thing, where he's like plays it. Cross plays as
It's pretty
Kratos or
dope.
some shit like that, and like
The last kill of the movie is kind of funny because it's like this guy's one moment where he nuts up for a second
Yes.
and turns around and just gets fucking
It-
smacked.
yeah, it is the most like this is Jason Voorhees thing in the whole movie, where it's
Yeah.
just like it's like
What did he say? All he screams is, "Hey, pussy!" or something
Yeah,
like that. And
he
he's
just-
just like fucking done.
he turns around and the axe goes directly into his forehead, and then
So
I-
good.
I don't know if about you guys, you're thinking, God, his stamina is pretty amazing because he just keeps hitting.
Oh, he just
Especially,
keeps going ham.
Yeah.
He just goes ham on that guy.
especially as the chick is there. The chick is right there. Does he?
That's another thing that I kind of was like, that's interesting. Why
Does he
did
kill
he exhaust so much rage on this one particular guy?
Wait. But he doesn't kill any women. Did you? I've just thought about that. He doesn't kill any of the women.
Really? He didn't kill the yoga girl?
Oh, yoga girl.
He
Oh,
didn't
God
kill
damn, I'm
the
stupid.
girl that was trying
Oh,
to get him
God,
for
dude.
pantaloons?
God, dude, I forgot about that.
You forgot about the most memorable kill.
I know,
movie
dude,
within the
No, he
I
kills
was-
no women other than
Well,
No
those
other-
two.
other than the other two.
I mean, but the fucking woman in the lake was lame. Like he just drowned her.
Yeah, he just drowned.
yeah.
I think was what he was implying. I don't know. They didn't. There was no blood. God, I just had a brain fart. Like of all brain farts, and here we go.
I
He didn't
will
kill
say
any other women other than that one incredibly
Yeah.
memorable kill where it killed
God,
that
yeah. I
woman.
just had my brain just blue screen, dude.
there was a really significant moment in the movie where I was talking to Katz about it, where they're sitting around the campfire and he's trying to tell the story, and this kind of goes back to the whole boys conversation we were
Yeah.
having. He's trying to tell the story and he's like, oh, he's slow.
Yeah,
And they're like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? And like trying to get him to say
the R bomb.
what we're
The
not
R-bomb,
supposed
yeah.
to say anymore and what we don't say anymore. And it made me think, because then also, you've got your yoga girl who's like, being canceled is a state of mind and blah, blah, blah. It's not real. But it made me think about it a lot, where it's just like swearing, I feel like, in a way. Like, I'll say, oh, that freaking sucks, right? Well, we all know that I mean it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So we change these words, but then we still say variations of them. And it's just, I don't know. It was just something that ran through my head just like randomly while I was watching it. And then I could not get it out of my head. It's not a big issue or anything. It was just
I mean, it's very much like
interesting.
how things change, right? And these are supposed to, I mean,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be like borderline like Gen Zers, right? They're like, it's supposed to be like, 25-year-olds. They're supposed to be, they all look about 38, but no, they all look like in their later 20s, but like, they're all
Are you
supposed to
sure
be
they're
like,
not supposed to be 16? I mean, they're
Yeah.
only like in their late 30s.
yeah, they all look like they're like 28 trying to cosplay as 19-year-olds, but like, it's that thing where like, they're very much this generation that like are very socially like they're very aware because their entire lives they've had that peer pressure of the online space of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. I mean, the three of us grew up in a time where like you were held accountable by your peers, which is a much smaller user group than like these kids. And these kids have like their whole interactions are like things in TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Twitch and all this shit their entire lives. So it's like what they can consider like all the things that we've learned and grown to get away from speaking the R word we're talking about. I mean, we talk about the F-bomb was such a fucking common thing to say when I was a kid and shit like that. And like all the guys call each other that shit. And like these kids have like grown up in a world where like you get shamed for that shit because it isn't right. Like, and there's that thing where it's like that separation of people who do that stuff and then stop when they're taught, and then the people who keep doing it because they're like, fuck this shit. And I mean, like that Nick Merckx motherfucker that Brian loves that like got banned from Twitch
Gross.
because of saying like a derogative version of trans, and like it's all that stuff. And like it is what I mean, it's very much like I think it feels like them kind of commenting on what is acceptable and what being canceled means. And it's also very weird because it's like it is true, like being canceled. I mean, I'm saying going along with it, look at it. I mean, like look at Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson got his Jewish hating rants out and didn't do much in Hollywood for a while, but I mean, he's doing smaller stuff all the time now and like is busy. You see
he's
Kevin
got a new movie that he just directed that's coming out.
Yeah, Kevin
The
Spacey.
Passion of the Christ 2, the
Yes, it is.
Awakening.
And they team Jesus up with Chris Tucker,
Oh
And
hell!
Do you understand the
Sign
words
me
that are
the
coming out of my
fuck
mouth? Like I don't know. It's like that thing where it's like it. I don't know. Like Kevin Spacey, but like it's weird because like Johnny Depp doesn't like. I haven't seen Johnny Depp do anything since like the divorce trial. I haven't seen like.
Well, he said he wasn't going to.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear. I mean,
He
maybe.
said he put it out. He said he didn't want anything else to do with Hollywood. Maybe he'll recapture his role in Tusk. You
No,
never
I
know.
knew you were going to go there, kid. I knew it. I knew you were going to go there, and that's why. But I don't know.
Why wasn't the killer Johnny Depp's role in Tusk with Johnny Depp?
Because this character needed to be like you needed to feel compassionate for them, and you can't feel compassionate for that guy. You can't, Ken. You can't. So like yeah, it's an interesting thought, and it's an interesting thing in a movie that's very much like artistically a slasher. That like I Ken, what is the audience score for this film on like Rotten Tomatoes or whatever?
It's lower. It's
Yeah.
lower than the critic score.
Oh, I was gonna say yeah. I
I'll
assume
pull it up if you
yeah.
guys
Yeah, I
want
didn't
me
have
to.
Rotten Tomatoes pulled up.
I'll snatch
I've been
it up
flipping
real
through all
quick.
the Reddit stuff
Yeah.
about it.
I just there have been some people that fucking hate this movie, and
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
it's like
under-
44% versus 79. The critics, obviously, it's certified fresh, but the audience score is not kind.
What does Skidamarink have on Rotten Tomatoes?
Lower than that, I bet.
I do you think everybody came all in their pants for Skidamarink, and it was
Well, the
boring
critics
as
did.
fuck.
Yeah, the critics did because critically that's 73. The audience score is 44 as well. So yeah.
I mean, what
Fucking
was it? I always
43%
Oh.
of those people were lying.
I still think the biggest
One person liked it.
the biggest one that we ever did on the podcast was back in the early days with The Stylist. If you look up The Stylist, that movie was literally at one point it was like in the 90s for the critics and like in the 30s for audience. It was real bad. Like it was because that ending in that movie.
I haven't watched that yet. I need to watch that, particularly because the director is from Kansas City.
Yeah,
So
she's from
if
your area.
anything
Yeah.
else, then
Yeah.
throw them some support because
But-
that's fucking cool.
She's got another movie coming out too. She's doing
Yeah.
I
Jill,
follow her on
I can't remember her last name. It's a
Yeah, 90% on the reviewers and 42 for the audience. I'd like to see that.
it
The
is
Stylist. I've heard good things.
dude, it is one of the if you don't mind watching socially awkward people, there are scenes in that movie. One that involves a vibrator that I'm just like, you just sit there, you go, I was literally covering my face because it was like, you know what? You know when Michael Scott would do things on The Office and you were just like,
Yeah.
like embarrassed for him?
Yeah.
Think about that, but like for longer periods of time because it's a horror movie where it's happening and you're just like, kind of like Creep. Like kind of that same
Yeah.
vibe of Creep where you're just like, no, I don't like that at all. No, like when you kind of go against social norms, it's like hard to like. It's like it just feels yucky.
Honestly, all I can think of is since it's The Stylist, and then you mentioned vibrator, and then you mentioned like that kind of role. I read a book not too long ago that was a really dark book that involved smut, but it was like a really dark book. And at one point, her and her boyfriend have convinced this girl to have a threesome, and they have her downstairs, and they have her like tied up and gagged and everything. And she pulls out her curling iron.
Oh no.
And puts it in the girl, and then goes back and forth about whether or not she's going to turn it on. And that was so uncomfortable. I will never forget that. The build on that and the writing on that was so detailed and so intense. I will never
That's horrifying.
forget that moment.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
And that's when you started talking about The Stylist. I was like, oh,
yeah, dude, that movie is real good. It's just the ending is real wild, but then like it's very much like a thing like where people become obsessed with someone, like swim fan and stuff like that, but like in a weirder, more like
parasocial type stuff.
Yeah, it's a parasocial thing. Yeah, and it's just like, it's real good though, but like, yeah. We could talk about because I think you brought it up before, Ken. I still think my favorite scene in the movie that isn't a kill is when the keys get thrown into the woods and he finds the little car because
so sweet.
It's so sad because the legend is, if you haven't seen the movie, is that this kid was like slow, as they put it. We were talking about that earlier. And the fucking, this is like a logging town in the middle of nowhere. And his dad ran the shop where like all these loggers had to buy their things, but it sounds like he ripped people off. But I'm not sure if that was just like them like upping.
It's probably them justifying their actions.
Yeah, it's probably what it sounds like. But they fucked with this kid, and he fell off of this watchtower and broke his neck, and then his dad like lost it, and then they killed him too.
The kid died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, the kid died. Yeah. And and that's why I was talking about earlier. I wasn't sure how old he was supposed to be, because it's like that thing, but like the slow and whatever, but like someone throws another character's keys into the woods, and you don't have any context because you're just, it's when he's around him, so you don't know as much. And it sounds like one of them the guys was cheating on the girl or something. I don't know. You don't like whatever, and he finds the keys, and he takes off like his mask, which is okay. We'll go with that a second, because I want to ask you something about that. And he just sits there, and he starts playing with the fucking the car, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see, like, it's the only good shot you see of him without the mask on. But it's a sad fucking shot, man. And it's a shot that you don't really expect to hold that emotional weight that it does. And I think it just shows how well that like the filmmakers are like, it feels like that it just shows you that the filmmakers can do things, and they don't land everything in this film, but like it's unique and different, and it just shows you that they're like pretty talented. It seems like the filmmakers are pretty talented one.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. They because you're right, while they don't stick every landing in this movie. They stick a lot.
Yeah,
they really do. They stick a lot. And there's a lot more to love in this movie than there is to not.
Yeah.
It's, for me, it's just unfortunate that one of the things that I don't love so much about the movie is kind of one of the more important things in a movie, and that's kind of nailing your final act.
Yeah.
And it sucks when that's something that you're just not fond of.
Yep.
Because that's what you leave with. That's what you walk out of the theater thinking. It's the last thing. That's boom. That's what sticks with you.
I have like two things I talk about in this podcast all the time, and one more than another, are the ending of Saw, one of the best endings in horror of all time. When he gets up,
so good.
When he gets up, and then the ending of Signs, where you just built an entire film on a premises like that doesn't premises. I don't like
it doesn't air quote hold water.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hold water, and you're just sitting there and you go, or things like. We talked about anything last week. Jeepers, I don't know if it was last week. We've talked about Jeepers Creepers on here before. I hate that fucking movie, and I generally, outside of the director being a fucking creepazoid, it's because of the fucking ending of that movie. I don't even remember most of that movie. I just remember hating the ending so fucking bad that I'm just like, this movie is the fucking worst. And I ever since watching it, I was like, fuck this guy and fuck this movie. And then I found out he's like a kid fucker, and you go, oh, okay, you hate him even more. But like, it's that ending has such a like. You can really save a bad movie with a really great ending, and you could really ruin a great movie with a bad ending. And is very much. Yeah. And I don't think that the ending of this movie ruins it. I don't think it. It's just one of those things where you're like, it kind of. It's kind of like you can notice or note that the movie stumbles at the end, and you can say that, like, because I think I wasn't as bad as you two, but both times I watched this, I zoned out at the end. Like, I was like, I think I was on my phone last night, or I was painting my nails or something at the very end, and it's just like was completely zoned out because that lady just talks and talks and talks, and you're just like, I don't mind the message, like the story, the whole message, and I think I got distracted earlier when we were talking about this, but like. Message that animals just kill, and that it's just like this guy is an animal, the spirit is just an animal, it just kills. It has no other purpose other than to kill, which I think is a little bit like, I think it's a little bit of a because the all this this individual wants, the spirit wants, is his mother's necklace. He doesn't want anything else. He doesn't want, and he's killing these people because they fucked with his, like, just trying to get rest, have peace, right? And which is a memorable thing. But what do you guys think about the mask, the old firefighter mask?
I think it's a cool looking aesthetic. I enjoy it. I know some people
I
don't
agree.
really care. Yeah, I know some people don't really dig it, but that's like that's aesthetically. I think it's kind of got a cool look to it. And
Yeah,
I'm a nerd when it comes to that. Like My Bloody Valentine
yeah,
is my favorite '80s slasher ever.
yeah,
And a big part of it is the aesthetic of
Yeah.
the miner, the look
Yeah.
of the miner, because there's like a sleek sexiness to it.
yeah.
Now I'm not going to say that that's the same as this by any means, but aesthetically, it's got a really, really cool look to it. I love that mask. Actually, I think it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I like the mask.
I
It's
hope
definitely
Trick or
cool.
Treat Studios shits one out before the October season. I think that'd be pretty dope.
I mean, like, fairly early on in this podcast, we did a movie about Josh and I about this comic book artist who like had someone coming after him. It had the guy from Detroit Become Human, the game, the android, the black guy with the 2 colored eyes in that
Yeah.
game. He was in it, and the killer in that movie kind of like comes out of his comic book or whatever, his graphic novel.
I've heard of
And
this.
It was on Shudder, I think, and I can't think of the name of it, but like he just uses a welder's mask, and it was like
Okay.
I don't think that movie was great. It wasn't terrible. It was an okay movie.
Was there a
But,
full junkyard scene on that movie?
I don't know.
I might be thinking of something else. Anyway,
You
go
might be
ahead,
thinking
sorry.
of Detroit Become Human, the game, or like you're in the Android mode. And I don't remember. I actually don't remember, Ken. I remember a kill in the back of a semi truck or something like that. But like, so like, is that for a slasher, right? It's very much like, I think the mask is the most memorable thing about him, because besides that, he just kind of looks like Jason in one of the 6, 7, or 8 kind of things, like more like zombie-ish, Jason,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it was a safe bet to go with that kind of look, considering he'd been sleeping underground for God knows how long, and
Yeah.
probably decayed of sorts, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I think it
I
was.
think that the practical effects on him are solid. They do
Yeah.
kind of get, when they get a little up close, particularly in the car sequence when he's playing with the car keychain, you do kind of see you get a pretty decent shot of the work that they did on him. And for the most part, it looks pretty good. But there are some spots where you kind of see it and you're like, oh, yeah, budgetary reasons definitely didn't make that immaculate looking. But honestly, like, considering this was I can't imagine how much this
I think 600,000 that Ken found sounds like.
yeah, because it didn't land on a set box or a budget, but
From what I've found, yeah.
Yeah, there was no way they had more than like at most a couple million.
Well, I have a fun fact for you. Speaking of that, and speaking of like the gore and the effects, so this was written and directed by Chris Nash.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Nash was the on-set creature effects supervisor for Psycho Goreman.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And he's also worked with Cronenberg on something called Please Speak Continuously and Describe Your Experience as They Come to You, which I want to watch now.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. I thought of for
Which
half.
Cronenberg, David or Brandon?
Brandon.
I had a panic attack for a second because I was thinking, oh shit, and then I realized Psycho Goreman directed a movie. The actor who played him, that was like a Shudder horror movie that was so bad that we didn't talk about it on the podcast. It was like Chris from or not Chris. We had the guy from Nightlight on, and we talked about something. I forget when we ended up talking about, but like it might have been Night House. Yeah, and that movie was, it was the bad CG.
You know what, dude? I think I remember you and I talking about this. Probably.
Oh, is that what it was? With what do you call it? Freddy?
Podcast.
Was it with Freddy? And did you come do it? And then Freddy was on?
Might have been, yeah.
And then we talked about
Death Valley, Transference, Extraction Day, Last.
Because I came on the podcast a long time ago. I think it was to talk Psycho Goreman. And,
No,
or you
maybe it was-
came on mine to talk it.
Yeah,
talk
maybe.
it.
I don't. I meant then I brought up that other movie, but that movie was terrible.
Yeah, I
it was.
remember you
It was so
saying
bad.
that.
I was like, yeah, we can't talk about this. There would be nothing fun to say about it. It was just like, yeah.
That's a bummer.
No, but that's awesome that guy I love that the dude is getting like other work because the creature work in Psycho Gorman for how cheap
Oh,
it
it's a
is.
blast.
But it's so you can see the love in it. And
Absolutely. Yeah. You can see the love and care that they put into that movie.
Obviously, because then you see this movie that this motherfucker loves 80s slasher movies, man, and it's just such an homage to 80s slashers, and it's just
very very much a love letter to like the Friday the 13th and the burnings and sleepaway camps and all that kind of stuff. That
dude. Is it just me or is The Burning one of the only movies that I go, I see this guy's point? Like that guy that got set on fire by a bunch of like assholes.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah, that is kind of one of those ones where you're like, get him, bro.
Yeah, get him, motherfucker, get him.
Yeah, go get him, bro.
But no, it makes sense. That was a good one, Ken. I'm glad you found that because man, it is like we were talking about. This movie is. I'm not gonna make any fucking specifics. It kind of reminds me of Long Legs because it like the people are like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. A lot of people are saying that about In a Violent Nature.
Yes,
when it came out.
Yeah, there were critics that were praising this as the best horror movie of the year.
But then you've got this one guy who says, one time I ordered a pizza but accidentally selected pickup instead of delivery. I was too lazy to go pick it up myself, so I never got the pizza but was still charged for it. I feel like that money was better spent than paying to see this movie.
That's hilarious and very creative.
Yes.
I disagree, but I respect the creativity in that review.
At least it was funny, right? Yeah, it's
so good. That's fucking hilarious.
I feel like when people say stuff like that, and we can sit there, they're like average horror fans. They're not like us crazy motherfuckers who watch at least one horror movie every week,
right?
And
that's the problem. That's the thing about movies is like, just because a movie isn't for a certain person doesn't mean that certain person isn't going to watch it and have an opinion. And they're definitely allowed to have that opinion. You know, that's the thing. That's why you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to creating art or content, any kind of content, you know. Because you're right. This is not a horror movie for your average Joe Schmo. Yeah, I like movies. Do you own any? I got a couple. You know what I mean? It's like, what's your favorite genre? I like romantic comedy. You know, it's like that person. That's not the target audience for In a Violent Nature. They're gonna watch it.
Yeah,
and they're gonna hate it.
Well, dude, they're
gonna let you know.
Just like so, I had a thing the other day. I was sitting in Classy's Katie stream, and she had for some reason gone and watched They Come at Night, and Katie is as ADHD as me and Ken are, but like she like that is a slow burn like psychological horror movie. It's not a simple watch. Kind of like I don't know some other stuff, but it's like and. Seeing that in a movie theater on a Friday afternoon at AMC, one of the few times I've gone to see a movie at a non-Alamo since the Alamo opened up, and some dude was yelling at it, the trailers and shit, and I told him to shut the fuck up when the movie started, and then when the movie ended, he goes, "That dude told me to shut the fuck up for that," because it was such a like art. Like I think that people like us who watch all these horror movies appreciate something different and something that's like, you know, unique. And like, dude, like, Ken, will you agree with this? A movie that has so much walking in it that held our attention for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, says
the
something.
only part that didn't hold my attention was the end with the 18-hour long speech. Like the walking, I thought it was great because it was pretty. It was in like the colors were phenomenal. The cinematography was great. Like the different. I thought the walking was great.
Shot gorgeous. Yeah, a lot of people said that they didn't like the pacing because of all the walking, but none of that bothered me at all.
No.
Either. So I have a question for you then. If she had been walking and telling that story, Would that have made it better
I
than
don't-
her driving?
I don't know. You know what I laugh about
'Cause
too.
At least we would have had the pretty
Yeah.
scenery as
Dude.
opposed to just shit going by at 45 miles an hour or whatever.
I have one more thing that you just made me think of. How do they have this where they're showing her go through the woods, and then they don't show how a stick just gets put through her foot? Like they don't show anything. They just show her walking through the woods, and then all of a sudden she's on the ground and she has a stick like through her ankle.
I
I'm
saw
like,
that. Did you miss that?
I must have missed it. I must have missed it twice.
I think it shows how that happens. It shows how that happens. I remember her thinking, "Oh, that's gonna."
Did
hurt.
it show how it happened, Ken? You just watched it.
I don't remember that part.
Maybe I'm misremembering, and I think I remember.
She had a
how
stick
that
in her foot, and I've watched
Could
it
it
twice now.
be-
and-
Could it possibly have been like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre classic mind trick where you think you're seeing things, but
Yeah,
It's
like I
just
could have
the-
swore I saw that Sinbad movie Shazam.
or you
Well,
swear
that's
you
saw-
different.
or Josh and I talked
That's
about
different.
how
Is this a
Texas
Mandela
Chainsaw
effect
Massacre does
thing?
those like kills
could be
like
a
the hanging
Mandela
on the hook, but you never actually see blood.
Or-
whatever.
or the
Right.
paint can scene at in the one movie where the kid hits the dude in the face with the paint can scene, like a la
Better
Home
watch
Alone.
out.
Yeah, better watch out, and how you don't see anything, but like your mind has this horrible image in your head. I don't remember. I don't think they show her getting the stick through her foot. They just show her pulling it
I
out.
swore I remembered
But
seeing
I don't.
that and
I
thinking, "Ooh, this is gonna definitely give her a hitch in her giddy up."
yeah. I don't know. don't know. But no, so like overall, I think this movie's cool. I think this is worth a watch for all horror fans. I
Yeah,
don't think it's
I
going
agree.
to be everyone's cup of tea. I don't get complaining about the walking because I'm like the walking at least has like I said the only one that kind of like drew out for me was in the middle of the movie where like he just kind of was walking through the woods with no scenery change. But like the rest of the time I'm like, where's this motherfucker going? Because he's always on a
Yeah.
fucking mission. He knows
He
where he's
was
going.
walking.
Yep. Okay.
They wore his special shoes.
His special shows. Is there something you guys want to watch next week? Because I don't know if I have anything in mind right
Do we
this
want to
second.
try and talk about long legs?
Yeah,
If
we
Ki-
were gonna try to do long legs.
Okay, cool.
If I
Well,
can get my
Ken-
peepers on it.
Okay, cool. Then we will do long legs next week, and
If not, we should do a
Is
revisit.
that you making fun of
Prom
me
Night
for telling you to
2.
shut the fuck up?
no, that was me. That was me being long legs. That's what it was. You'll understand. You'll understand once you
If
watch
not,
it.
we should revisit Prom Night 2 and make.
No, we're not watching Prom Night 2
I'm
again.
still so upset that you missed that. That's why I picked the movie. I wanted her to watch it. I wanted to know what she thought of it. And she's like, "Can't make it, fuckers."
She's like, I have to flee Canada. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. We will
Oh,
talk about
man.
long legs next week. If not, we'll figure something else out. But I think we should be able to pull that off. Okay, guys. Ken, your plugs.
I don't have plugs. I have regular piercings.
God damn it, Ken. God damn it.
Sorry. I plugged in everything.
Okay,
It's
continue.com and go to
Check out-
twitch.tv.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go to,
twitch.tv/continue.com, KINTINUE, onlynouns.com, stdhotel.com, stdmotel.com,
Quaintaint.
quaintaint.com.
Yep.
And X or Twitter. I refuse to call it X. Man, go
It's Twitter.
fuck yourself. It's
Yep.
Twitter.
fuck you, Elon.
Continue. And we're back on our RimWorld shit. So come on in and hang
You
out.
weren't playing RimWorld, were you? I thought you were playing when I was still. You
I
were playing.
started on Ani and then I was
Okay.
like, no, I want to do RimWorld. So now I'm fucking
Okay.
around with like mechs and stuff.
Okay, I couldn't watch the stream because of work today, and so like you were playing Oxygen not included, and I was still there. So okay, Brian, you're
You can find me on the "We're Gonna Make You Watch" podcast. Also, where
what's
we
the next?
force
What's
my
up
friend
next for you
Warren-
guys?
Well, we only do every 2 weeks.
I know,
so,
but that's
we
why I said-
still, the next episode, the latest episode was the fog.
Okay, but what are you guys making him watch next time?
I don't know yet.
You don't know.
Actually, you know what? We probably do have one picked, and if you give me a quick second, I can probably
Okay.
find that.
You can do that, and I will
Um,
plug myself while he's looking.
Yeah,
You can-
plug the fuck out of yourself,
you
baby.
could- Oh, plug myself. I'm on Twitch at Rod_Johnston and on Twitter at the same and Instagram and whatever. And you can find me those places doing those things. And yeah, I've been playing I've been playing Fallout New Vegas, and the Steam version of that game is so bad that someone gave me $10 the other day to download the GOG version because the Steam version was literally crashing every 15 minutes. And I'm just like, Bethesda, you guys make it so hard to love you. And I know that's not a Bethesda game, but like, you guys make it so hard to love you. You make it so hard. Fix your goddamn engine. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. Because Vegas is such a fun experience. And it's just like, my favorite thing in those games is to do, like, just talk my way out of everything. But then you have to kill everyone anyways. But like, yeah. So, did you figure it out, Brian?
Yeah, we're making him watch Evil Dead.
Oh, man. Okay.
He's never seen any horror movies. That's the whole point
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
He's seen like a couple. Like he's seen Halloween 2018. But that's only because it was a double date, and I picked the movie, so I made him
Nice.
meet this girl that he eventually married. So thanks to Halloween 2018,
Brian is the master of all cock and horror.
I think I mean, I'll take that throne if you want to set me on that throne of dick.
I mean, we already know we've already decided you give out inferior blowjobs. So we're
you motherfucker, I'm gonna fucking suck the fuck out of your dick one day, okay?
Okay, guys,
Just
you
to
heard it here.
prove
Brian is
that
going
you
to
don't
blow
know.
me. And
You don't fucking know.
Brian's gonna take his dentures out and he's gonna suck my dick like there's no tomorrow. So next week we're gonna talk about long legs. I hope you watch Born on the 14th.
You know, if you keep talking, she's not gonna need to watch it. She's just
I
gonna
know.
fucking know the movie.
Yeah, you're just going to tell me the whole plot of the movie.
Okay, guys, we love you, and we'll catch you guys next week for Long Legs. Bye.
Bye.